Region's really not safe. I just set this up all nice. Oh, there we go. I don't know. I guess they lagged or something. There we go. Surprise. Hello, everybody. We're joined now by Xenocider, Puck, and of course Zombie Grub. Zombie Grub, it's your show match. I'll let you ask these guys what's going on, and I'll just take the backseat for this one.
All right. So let's ask Xenocider. What do you feel about Terran and Legacy of the Void? How easy were those wins against Protoss?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's so much Terran, but like Protoss is pretty fucked right now. I don't know how PvZ is personally, but TVP is looking pretty fucking rough. You just make a few cyclones, and then basically the Protoss can't take a third base forever. And then even if they did take a third base, like they can't really make any good units, I think. So it's pretty rough. Yeah.
Okay, Puck. Thoughts on Protoss? All matchups, not even just PvT.
At least the salt.
I don't know. Like they nerfed the DPS of Colossus too, right?
Yeah, 20%.
So I feel like maybe Templar Archon is like the strongest option. I don't know, because if you lose like a single Phoenix versus Cyclone, then if they keep making Cyclones, then you're basically fucked, because you lose a Phoenix and there's just nothing you can do, because all your other Phoenixes are just going to die to the other Cyclones that are running away. And Disruptors, it's too easy. Like, if you're aware of them, it's fairly easy to dodge them. Like, the only time I've had good success with Disruptors, if I'm able to come at two sides, or like in front and in back, but then they could just like pick up and just run away. But like a lot of players just don't realize they can just pick up their units and just boost away with medevacs. So it's like Disruptors cost like 300 gas, though it takes away from any other really good tech that you could go with as well. I mean, there's a lot of experimenting, so I'm not sure. Like I haven't really played that many PvTs because I haven't got many on the ladder, but just from my experience, it's like Colossus are really bad and Disruptors are easily dodged, and they just mass Widow Mines behind it and you just die basically.
Yeah, I really don't like that. Oh, I mean, it's not that I don't like, it's just that it's kind of unfortunate for Protoss players that everything that Blizzard seems to be adding is just like really fancy units. They're not really like solid, you know what I mean? You have the Adapt, which is like cool, but it's not just a solid backbone unit that you have. It's the same with the Disruptor, in my opinion. They're both just too niche.
There's actually no purpose for Adepts in PvT, because if the Terran wall is off, then they can't even sculpt the main base.
Yeah.
And they're like really slow, and you can see where they're fading in and out. So it's like the harassment capabilities are not there as well, because they're so slow on foot as well.
Well, we saw you use the stasis words actually really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little sloppy the first game. I've done them much better. Like I played really well with them last night, and I was able to like time them really perfectly. But like my games for Xenocider, it's like if you're aggressive as Terran, then if you keep being aggressive, then they're not as good, I've seen, because it's like there's oracles aren't necessarily cheap, and you have to keep putting down stasis ward, and it's 50 energy per stasis ward, and they can just scan and kill them. So it's like, before I would start on their side of the map and put down stasis wards, but like it's really hard to do that when they're already aggressive.
Well, you then tried to use carriers in that third game. Did someone tell you to do that, or just just like let's try it? It's whatever.
I don't know. I thought it'd be a good idea. Someone in chat told me someone was using carriers and it was working for them, kind of, and I'm just like, well, they probably weren't playing very good Terrans.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, like, of course, I could have done much better in that game too, but I don't know. It just like feels like.
Well, I mean, you had gone for the Anion Pulse Crystals too. I mean, like you were playing with nerfed carriers for so long.
Yeah. I did get the wrong upgrade.
I definitely think that carriers right now at least have got a spot, and it was a little bit sad because it looked like you were getting that sort of leverage. You killed all the Cyclones off, so you started making Widow Mines, but so much caught you off guard towards the end of it.
Once I lost the economy in my natural, it was over.
Yeah.
I really like the Widow Mines, by the way. Jesus Christ. Just curious before we tell you, Puck, do you have any idea roughly how many were being produced at a time?
I don't want to know.
Xenocider was making a bullshit level of 10 widow mines at a time, and we're just kind of like, well, I guess he's got so many that even if he loses them on the way in, he's still got about 20 more behind him. It was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was rough. It's rough.
So, if you were to, you know, what would you tell Blizzard to give back to Protoss, or like if you think they don't need the Colossus necessarily, what to give?
Give us back the old Colossus, or allow the Disruptor to hit air targets as well. So if they try to pick up with their medevacs, they can still lose units actually, and make it a little bit cheaper of a unit. Maybe do like half the damage it does now, but also have attack air and be slightly cheaper so you can actually transition into other things.
But then, like, okay, it would be cheaper when you can transition, but it has a problem. Like the majority of the problem is that it gets sniped after it's killed, you know, unless those stasis wards actually hit. So, I mean, do you think using a War Prism with it is actually really good, or does that just add on too much micro?
That would be very hard versus Terran, because if they start making Vikings.
Yeah, it's true as well.
Well, Xeno, same topic before we swap here. The Disruptor for you, were you having trouble splitting? Was there panic? You know, Puck made a lot of them. I think it was in that first game. It was like 5 or 6 in play over the course of like 3 minutes. Was that troubling for you, or were you just kind of like, oh, okay, I saw it coming. It was no problem. I just dodged it. Or what were your thoughts on the Disruptor? Because you did get to do a bit of damage with them or against them.
Yeah, I mean, in combination with the Stasis War, I think it can be strong. It's just, it comes down to the fact that you're like, you think, oh man, I just killed 3 Marauders. It's that's a lot, right? But then you remember that it costs 300 gas for the Protoss, and if you trade like 3 Marauders or something, or 4 Marauders for a Disruptor, like I'll take that trade because I've pretty much got mass mineral income coming in, and it's just almost too much of an investment for Protoss, and not effective enough, I feel like, to be worth it. Yeah, I feel like Puck is right about it should at least hit air if you're gonna go with something like that, because the pickup is too strong, and the only way you can maybe mitigate that is with the stasis, like perfect stasis war timing. But I don't know, it's not in a effective enough place right now in TVP.
Well, in terms of economy, because that was the biggest change to come to Legacy of the Void, do you enjoy how fast the pace is?
I absolutely love the pace, actually.
Okay. All right. There's been a couple of new articles that are popping up saying that the pace could actually be very terrible for Legacy of the Void. If you guys go to Team Liquid, some of the TL writers are writing about it. But as far as what I've seen, and what other pro gamers have said, they actually really love the pace. But that does mean that your gas runs out a lot faster. So not only does Protoss have these units that aren't looking so great, they're getting all these nerfs to the units that they used before, they also have a lot less gas to use, and it's so hard to go to third base. I mean, does Protoss just feel wrecked in this expansion? And just like, this is going to be so screwed?
Like, I don't know. I just wish they put in small number adjustments just to make it more playable for Protoss, and I'd be much happier. Because right now it's like impossible versus a good Terran or versus a really good Zerg who just goes Ravager rushes every game. It's like impossible for Protoss to ever actually get a third base, like if they didn't play properly. I don't know.
Well, let me ask just real quick here. Puck, and Xenocider, I'd love to hear you after. What's your I guess the topic of you liking the economy, what's your favorite thing about the expansion so far, and what's the worst thing? Like, just the absolute top and the bottom for each of you. Puck first.
My favorite, like, I absolutely love the game. Like, I look at Heart of the Swarm, and I watched Heart of the Swarm, I watched WCS, and I'm just like, this is really boring. I can't do it. And then I played Legacy of the Void. I just want to keep playing. I don't want to stop. And like, the thing about it is, I think it's just so many different things. I like the play style. Like, I love the idea of placing stasis wards around, using disruptors, and I love the idea of it. I just feel like a lot of things should have been looked at. Some things should have been nerfed. Some things could have been changed a little bit to make it more playable for everybody in the beta. Of course, things will change. Like, we're only the first week in the beta, so it's like not the end of the world. But by far my favorite thing is just the play styles that are coming around. There's so many different options. It's gonna favor players who play faster. Just overall, much funner game for me overall. And of course, the weaknesses is Protoss sucks right now. That's about it.
All right, Xenocider, your top and your bottom part of the expansion so far.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my favorite thing is the economy change, just because of the pace that it produces. Like, it is a lot faster, and that's what I enjoy playing. Like, my least favorite thing in Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty is when you get in that stagnation period where you're just waiting for things to happen, and you're kind of shuffling your units around, but nothing's really happening. And like usually it's around the 3 base versus 3 base where you're just building up your army and then you don't fight. I feel like that's not good gameplay. On the other hand, I do find Legacy of the Void a lot funner to play and a lot funner to watch, but obviously it's a new game, so I mean, it's got the new factor in there for me, so I feel like that might be a reason why I like it more. I think it's probably going to be harder to play against the Koreans, honestly, in Legacy of the Void than it will be in the past, just because I feel like the mechanical requirements are going to be much higher for Legacy of the Void, judging by how fast the game goes. I mean, like, Koreans are going to have that down pat, so I mean, nothing that we can't rise to the challenge of course. And biggest weakness, I mean, right now it's TVZ is really hard, especially with the 7 armor Ultralist.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, pretty much.
Yeah, and the Marauder's getting nerfed too simultaneously, right? Like, thanks a lot, Blizzard.
Yeah, it's rough. It's absolutely rough. But
some things don't make any sense at all.
Yeah, well, Zombie and I, we talked about the cast, like Zerg. Okay, there's a lot of changes, good and bad, like for most races, but Zerg actually got like no nerfs, like just buffs across the board. New units, new buffs, new cracklings, new 7 ultras. I mean, it's kind of crazy, and I right now Zerg is certainly rocking it. You know, we're watching Desert Cup right now. They're in the finals. It's a ZVZ. We had Lycan League on Monday or whatever. That was a ZVZ. It's just Zerg is feeling pretty dominant right now. But the nice thing is, and again for those watching, maybe you catch us on a VOD or something. This is day 4 of the beta. It's hardly even new still. It's got a long way to go and a lot of tweaks to be had. I guess my question for Puck, if you could change. And sorry, I'll shut up after this, but like if you could change one thing about the Adept to actually make it worthwhile, what would you do? Would it be cost? Would it be ability? What would you tweak about the Adept to make it more viable to use?
God. I'd change a lot of things.
Okay, well, let's just go with one. Keep it simple. Like if there's one big change.
There's many things that, okay, can I just there's many things. I don't know what one thing I'd actually like the most. That's the problem with this.
Okay.
Because there's so many things I would like to have changed about it. And it doesn't have to be all the things. It could just be like 1 or 2 things. Well, a couple things for certain. Like it needs to be a faster unit, and the attack speed needs to be faster. Whether they have to decrease the DPS with it or not, whatever. But also like the Twilight, it's tech path. It has the upgrade at Twilight console, which no one would ever use because the attack speed is just too slow. They can see where the fade goes in. There's really no way for it to do anything.
So what do you think about moving that to like Cybercore then or something? Would that be more viable just to get that shockwave out earlier?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I would love to see it be a cyber tech. But also I'd love to see like the fade in not be visible to the opponent, so you can actually like do something with it instead of just having it die because they know where it's going every time, and maybe go through buildings because they can't scope for Terran right now.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. You could go through force fields, but not buildings. Kind of surprised me a little bit.
My question, I guess, is for Xenocider right now. Did you hear about the new Terran unit?
I briefly skimmed over the description. It was like a flying air-to-air unit or something like that.
Yeah, it's air-to-air. It can turn into air-to-ground. It's like reverse Viking, apparently. The idea that David Kim had was that it was supposed to be something that helps aggressive mech, not turtle mech. But what do you think of another unit, another buff going to mech for Terran?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of weird because I always thought that Blizzard is really true to their core philosophies or whatever. So they have like this image of Protoss, right? And they just keep building on top of it. So like, for instance, they've got the fancy units, so they're just going to keep adding fancy units to Protoss. You know, they've got the sentries, whereas Terran is more like a robust race. So they just keep adding more robust units that like serve its role and are really, I mean, they're really basic and easy to control. But anyways, buffing mech with Terran doesn't really make sense to me because I feel like Terran or Blizzard has always been true to their fundamental that there should be races that are stronger at different times. So for instance, Protoss is stronger than Terran if Terran can or if Protoss can hold like all the mid game pressure that Terran puts out. So therefore, Terran's better in the mid game, Protoss is better in the late game. But like buffing mech to me goes against what Blizzard's core philosophy has been so far in StarCraft, which is asymmetrical balance. So I always thought that if Terran had a good late game, then what would happen is Terran kind of just sits there and Protoss sits there, and they both don't have any incentive to attack because they both have good late games. I always thought that was the reason why they're not buffing mech. So by buffing mech, they're kind of saying that like they might abandon the asymmetrical balance where Terran's better in the mid game, and they might just go with Terran can have a viable mech option too, and just kind of sit there and play more defensive. I mean, I feel like they're going with this route because Legacy of the Void is a lot more aggressive, so it doesn't really create the turtle mech games that Heart of the Swarm would anyways, and that could be why they're adding this aggressive mech option, because I feel like turtle mech in general just has no potential in Legacy of the Void. So this is a good step if they're trying to optimize mech as a aggressive option.
Yeah, but I mean, mech already got like all the, they got the Cyclone, they got being able to pick up tanks that are sieged. I mean, doesn't bio just feel like regular old bio? Is that a little disappointing?
I mean, I feel like the biggest thing is that bio is always going to be good because it's just good at controlling the map. The Cyclone right now serves bio as well, at least in TvP, because the Cyclone denies the third base, which allows the Terran to get more economy to produce more bio units. So I think it's fine. I mean, MMM's been here for 5 years, and I don't see it going away anytime soon.
All right. So I guess kind of on that same note, I want to ask you guys about your respective mirror matchup. So we know ZVZ is actually super boring. That's why we didn't let you guys play it. It's exactly the same as Heart of the Storm. But Puck, we'll start with you. What do you think about PvP? Has it gotten better?
I feel like PvP is gonna end up being the same. No change in the mid to late game, but I don't know. It won't change unless they change depths. Like the depth's really good at scouting to see what's going on. So of course, there's gonna be maybe slightly less build order wins, but other than that, I don't know. There hasn't been enough games to be played, but disruptors are really good in it because it's really hard to split up your Stalker, Immortal, Colossus, Archon balls versus disruptor.
Yeah. And for Xenocider, talk about Cyclones. Have they made any difference in TvT?
No, I don't think they're. Oh, I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't played too many TvTs right now, so it's kind of hard. I think it would help against Banshees quite a bit, but yeah, I haven't had enough experience in TvT to really say. I feel like the biggest change in Legacy of the Void for TvT is that in Heart of the Swarm, there could be a situation where as long as you max out in TvT, you have a chance. So basically what happens is if you're behind, then you can kind of sit on 2 base and then slowly tank crawl your way to 3 base, and then you have a 200 army, and with a Miracle Doom drop you can still win. But that won't be the case in Legacy of the Void anymore. So that's a really cool change, because I feel like there's a lot of scenarios like that in Heart of the Storm where they just kind of sat back and took a lot of money on 2 or 3 bases.
Yeah. Okay, well that's it for my questions. Rick, do you have anything else?
No, I'm pretty much done. I just I hope to see you guys more and more as Legacy of the Void continues to go on. I guess Puck.
Hope to do this again.
Yeah. Well, you guys are our stupid Irish chefs, man. We gotta use you guys again at some point.
Yeah.
But Puck, before we go, shout outs to your fans, where they can find you if they want to catch you, because you've been streaming a lot actually. All those final goodbyes.
Of course, I absolutely love the game. I plan to be streaming a lot more, like a hell of a lot more. Like I'm at the point where it's hard to go to the gym because I just want to play Legacy of the Void. But shout out to my team Flipside, shout out to all my viewers and my fans and my friends and family. So I'm sure my mom's listening to me right now. And yeah, thank you for having me, of course.
No, thanks for coming.
Moving back to you.
That was Xenocider. Your farewells here, man. Before we get going here, because we got to set up for the Legacy of the Alima League coming up next.
Yep, as always, thanks for having me on. It's always a great time. Follow me on twitter.com/egzeno. Big thanks to my team, Evil Geniuses. You all know them. You all know their sponsors by now, I'm sure. So,
It's the laziest part. You guys know what I'm talking about.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about the streaming thing because I don't even know if I'm gonna be playing Heart of the Swarm for the next few months because WCS is gonna be Heart of the Swarm this year, and the qualifiers are in about a week, so I'll be practicing for that obviously, and probably won't be streaming too much until those qualifiers are over.
Well,
Thanks,
I wish
everybody.
you and Puck, of course, the best of luck with WCS. Speaking of that, hope to see you guys get far in this next season. Show everyone that Kane's not the only one that can do North America proud.
Yeah.
Clearly, you guys need some gaming slippers. I'm just saying. The secret.
You can sponsor me, Captain.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for coming on this show, Mesh. Thank you for being involved with a lot of stuff we do here on BaseTradeTV, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day with whatever your night holds for you. Take care, guys. So I slowly delete all the screen regions. All right, guys. So for here, as we get out of this call, Zombie and I are going to get ready for the Legacy of the Alima League cast coming up next. You'll notice Skype is all borked. We're gonna have to redo a call. We'll get all these things fixed. So we'll just go to a break screen here for about 8-10 minutes or so, and we'll hop into the casting. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show match. But we're not going anywhere. We're just taking a small break to fix screen regions and stuff, and we'll see you in about 10 minutes with the Legacy of the Alima League. I need to start a brand new call.